Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown. I'm your host, Matthew Peterson. We got some important topics to discuss on today's show. We'll kick things off by looking at the updated playoff picture and whether or not Denver can find a way to sneak into that wild card conversation with their big game coming up in Kansas City this upcoming Sunday night. They open up as 10-point underdogs, and I remember the last time Bridgewater and company were 10-point dogs on the road. I wonder how that ended for the Broncos. Other things going on today's show. We'll get the latest injury news featuring Teddy Bridgewater and that banged-up offensive line after the win against the Chargers on Sunday. And finally, who's the new face of the defense? Is it going to be PS2, or can Bradley Chubb live up to that big first-round pick he was a couple seasons ago? So all that coming up on today's show. But before we get into it, predict the score for me. Who do you got? Broncos, Chiefs, Sunday Night Football. It's flexed. Hopefully Al Michaels is back on the call, because I was not a big fan of Drew Brees on Sunday night for the Browns and the Ravens. But all the lights, all the cameras, all the angles going to be there. Let me know your score prediction down below. I'll make this the pinned comment. So if you get hit with the YouTube ad break, scroll on down and reply to this question for me. AFC West standings read as follows, with the Chiefs the number one team in the West, 7-4, but it is just a logjam after that. The Chargers, the Raiders, and the Broncos all 6-5. A lot of games to be played within the division still. The Broncos have played the Chargers and the Raiders once each. So there's 2 games so far in the division. They got 2 coming up against KC, one more time in LA, and then once in Vegas as well. So a lot of big games coming up for the Broncos within the division. But the playoff picture right now has Denver on the outside looking in. But with that huge win against the Chargers, they have the same record as them, actually. 6-5, but it's the AFC record that has LA ahead of Denver. But you can tell. I mean, this is any team's game. Any team can make this wild card picture right now that is above 500. It's the 6-6 club between the Colts and the Browns that will be a little tough right now. So can the Broncos squeak it out? I think a lot's going to be told this upcoming Sunday night with the big game in Kansas City. I don't think the Broncos have to win this game to make the playoffs. I do think they have to split their upcoming 2 games against the Chiefs. If you don't win this one, you got to win at home later in this season. But the Broncos, they do not have an easy schedule coming up, and they have 3-4 more division games, twice against KC, so 4, and then the Raiders and the Chargers, tossing the game against the Bengals for shits and gigs. It's not going to be an easy road coming up for the Broncos, but let me know, will the Broncos make the playoffs? Type M for make or N for no. Let me know what you're thinking in the comment section of this one. I could see it going either way. I think that this team is very Jekyll and Hyde. I don't know if they had a team book club and they're just really leaning into it or something, but the team that we all saw play against the Eagles at home versus the team we've seen play the Cowboys on the road and most recently the Chargers at home, just completely different teams. So what version are we going to get for the rest of the season? It's a long season in the NFL, so don't count them out just yet, but 6-5 has them in the conversation at least. Injury-wise, Teddy Bridgewater suffered a weird injury. It's a leg contusion to his shin. Missed the kind of second half of the first half. Drew Lock came in, and I think it's best for Drew Lock to just stop playing if he wants to get a decent backup job, because he's only hurting his next contract outside of Denver. But Bridgewater is expected to be A-OK for this upcoming Sunday in Kansas City, so that's promising news right there, because from what we saw from Locke in his brief stint on the field, that's not something you want to see over 4 quarters in Kansas City against an improving Chiefs defense. Kyle Newman from the Denver Post had this to say, though. Broncos injury updates per Vic Fangio. Left guard Risner back, should be okay. Left tackle Anderson will miss some time, and Massey with that ankle along with Bowles and COVID. They got some hopeful news that they'll be able to come back and play this upcoming Sunday, but time will tell for those two. Before we get into more injury news, we got a great deal going on Cyber Monday. Don't fall behind holiday shopping. Get this awesome Broncos jacket right in front of you, 20% off. And all you got to do is go to chatsports.com/Broncos jacket. If you can't remember that, no worries. Don't worry about it. We've got it in the link. We got the links in the comments and the description of this video. So check it out. This deal is not going to last for long. It's Cyber Monday. Get ahead of the holiday shopping. Don't put it off, because if you wait till next week. Chances are you're going to be buying this sweatshirt for this jacket for yourself or a loved one at full price. Get that 20% off discount code right now when you use Monday at the link at the bottom of your screen over at Fanatics. On the offensive line, Denver at 1 point in their game against the Chargers were rolling with just one starter, one usual starter, your center, Lloyd Cushenberry. Everyone else was backups and reaching for the stars kind of players. So hopefully this is the starting five we see against the Chiefs on Sunday night. Bowles coming back from COVID after he missed Week 12 because of it, and ultimately, Fleming and Anderson held their weight. Anderson went down as well, but Massey, hopefully he can get back on track as well. He went down in that Cowboys win with an ankle injury, so waiting to see his diagnosis going into this week. But Vic Fangio sounded decently optimistic in his press conference that Massey and Bowles will be able to play this upcoming Sunday night in KC. So we're going to wait and see on those two guys, but Anderson's going to miss some time, it looks like, but hopefully he's going to go back to his swing tackle role if Massey is able to return this week. But what's your concern level over all the offensive line injuries? Scale for me 1 to 10. The offensive line, I think, held their own. I do like the 6th and 7th guys. Minor's off the bench. He's been Belly, as they like to call him. He's been fun to watch. He is just a nightmare. He wants to hit people for a living, and he's in a good profession to do that. So scale for me 1 to 10 down below. Switching gears now. Without Von Miller, and we're going to look at what the defense has done with and without Von on the field this season, but who is the new face of this Broncos defense? That question, I think, was answered in the Chargers win. Not one, but 2 interceptions for Pat Surtain, the 9th overall pick in this past draft class, and took one to the house for a TD, kind of iced the game, honestly, and Justin Herbert, maybe he's found his kryptonite. Maybe his future in LA will be great, but it'll come at a cost of never playing well in Mile High. I hope that's the case because Surtain, he's off to a phenomenal season. And 3 interceptions and a touchdown. And there's been enough chatter and talk that if he was as big of a spotlight kind of team of the Dallas Cowboys like Micah Parsons is getting, I think Surtain would get a little bit more buzz and love for a defensive rookie of the year candidate. But when you don't play in the Star, when you don't play with Jerry World, you don't get all that attention, so you kind of fall off people's radars a little bit. But going up against Mahomes this upcoming Sunday, if he can make a big play on Patty, don't count him out. Maybe he can make a late run for that defensive rookie of the year candidate, kind of like the Heisman. That's open up for grabs right now, so I don't think Parsons has completely run away with that, but I do think Surtain is absolutely on a track to be the new face of the Broncos defense. We'll get to some more Broncos defense in just a moment, but subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and if you are in on Surtain being the future of this Broncos defense, hit that big red button, join the family, join the channel, one of us, okay? And if you have already subscribed, we appreciate you being a part of the best Denver Broncos YouTube channel out there. Bradley Chubb. Where have you been? Well, you've been hurt. So it's been good to see him back on the field, though. And here's what he had to say. I thought this was very interesting. On the Von Miller trade, he called it was like a kick in the butt. And the Broncos defense has quietly been better without Von Miller in a lot of ways than with Von Miller. So Chubb in his return after getting hurt in week 2 against the Jags, he played 30 snaps, a little under half the game against the Chargers, but he expects to be a full participant, meaning a full go game speed against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs this Sunday night. And the Broncos need that because they've been looking for that next edge rusher after Von Miller, and it's been a kind of a sacks by committee approach. But I want you to look at the Broncos defense with Von, kind of the first half of the season, and then without Von, the last 4 games. They're giving up less points per game, 15.5, and still they only give up 17 with Von, but I think that's something to look at there. They're getting more turnovers. They have 7 takeaways compared to 6, and that's in fewer games as well. They're averaging 3 sacks per game compared to 2.1 with Von, which is kind of mind-boggling that without Von Miller, who was the only consistent pass rush through the first quarter of the season, they've somehow stepped up. Weatherly went off for a sack. You've seen Malik Reed contribute as well. Love what I've seen out of Kenny Young. This Broncos defense, everyone is just finding a role right now. And I don't know. It kind of reminds me of like a middle school basketball team that is just kind of hitting their stride right now, and everyone's stepping up, and all the moms and dads are fired up in the group chat. So with that being said, who is going to be the new face of this defense? I got 3 names here: Surtain, Simmons, or Chubb. You take the field type O for other. Let me know. Face of the defense. PS for Surtain, JS for Simmons, or BC for Chubb. Let me know if you're going to get a new jersey. Like, who's it going to be? Which of these 3 players? Or maybe it's someone else. Maybe I'm missing someone. Could be K-Jack, honestly. I just think the age column for him is what's holding him back a little bit. And hopefully he's back to go as well in Kansas City this Sunday night. Before we wrap up the video one more time, check out this awesome Broncos jacket we got going on. 20% off Cyber Monday. Got to use that promo code Monday when you go over to Fanatics. Make sure you hit that link right there at the bottom of your screen, chatsports.com/Broncos jacket. I've got it in the comments and the description of this video. We'll talk to you guys later this week as we get ready for the Broncos and Chiefs on Sunday Night Football.